If you want to have a little bit of fun while we're doing things, you can do this for confetti thrown around, because why not? If you wanted to make your notes public, so for instance, if I was adding a note to the screen, I wrote something, all you're seeing is me writing some sort of gibberish. There's a thing at the bottom of the screen that says sticky notes are private. It's red, so if you click on it, it will become green and everyone else will see your notes, right? So feel free to add your notes in privacy, and then reveal them when you're ready. Well, I think that's pretty much it. So if everyone takes a couple of minutes, I can see everyone's already been adding notes to the screen, which is good. If you want to add a couple more minutes to add a few more, we can then start sorting through them. Any questions?
So guys, just to jump in, just so you know, it is being recorded, so I'll share it with everyone following this.
Oh, excellent. Someone's using the group tool. The group tool just basically highlights if you had a section of tickets that you wanted to group together, you can do that. But it's not really necessary. And in this case, we can, yeah, if people want to move close their cards to the things that they see that are similar question-wise, that's a good idea. So we can group them together and answer those questions or talk about those areas in one go. There's really good questions there as well. If you want to delete stuff, you could just select the thing that you want to delete and you press backspace.
Hey, Fiddly.
Are you trying to delete it? I'm gonna delete the group thing, so it's the voting can be done on the ticket rather than the group. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So people already feel free to start voting on the questions that you want to discuss or votes.
Start voting?
Someone's card is hidden, so it's set to private. If they want to make it public, there is at the bottom, there's on that thing, it says your sticky note is private. Yeah, that's it.
Mine seems to have added videos.
Oh yeah.
Even Mary just looked in there. Mary just looked in there.
This is great. We're having all ages join the Start them early, I say.
Shall we start voting? Are you guys voting already?
Yes.
Yeah, I think we've started voting. Yeah.
Yeah. Start voting, adding your notes to it. I can see there's quite a few already voted. We can do one more minute and then we can start moving them across to the place where we can start discussing them.
How do I create a card?
You can double click on the screen. So you have
Yes.
proof. Yeah,
Yeah, thank you.
no problem. Okay, so if everyone's ready, we can start moving these across. If anyone's seeing anything that's seems similar in tone or in theme, feel free to put them together and we can move them across to the to discuss area. Right, so there's a little cool tool here that says toggle ranks. That just lets us easily decide which topics that we want to be discussing, what people want to be discussing first. So let's just take first 3 and move them across to discuss. Right. Cool. Let's just do that and then move to this area to discuss. Can everyone see it?
Yeah.
Excellent. Cool. So the next part of this is having discussion, which is usually 1 to 2 minutes. So what we do is we can kick off and have a 2 minutes discussion. So let's move this guy over to the discussing bit and kick off the timer. Normally, anyone can really kick this off if it's clear enough, if anyone is interested. So what I say is, in this instance, whoever wrote this, it would be a good idea for you to elaborate on what you were giving us a bit of context around this.
I think it was Stuart's, wasn't it?
Oh, yes. Okay, well.
But I mean, I can probably go with this. I can sort of talk about this because I had a similar question. Basically, it's more about the idea of how do we bring that culture into a team of where quality is the focus. What can you do? What techniques can you use to bring the team on board, influence them, and get them into the way of thinking that quality is important? I think is really what Stuart's pushing out there.
And is this applicable to all the team members from in tech or across the board?
Absolutely. From my perspective, yes, it would be. In my experience, where I've been able to do this in the past, it's not just been about influence the QA team. It's been about influencing the wider delivery teams, the wider technology teams. And if you can get further into the company as well, great. Marketing, sales, etc. If they can all buy into quality being important, then that's the benefit. My experience was within the technology function. I started off by finding out the testing skill set, making sure the testers were all on board with it, and then I started presenting at technology all hands about how quality was important and talking about culture of quality, using the TestSphere card deck. If any of you are familiar with this, using this in team meetings with not just testers but with project managers, delivery managers, wider teams, to get them understanding how we can get people talking about testing and getting it on the agenda, and then eventually getting to a point where quality or QA are involved in the discussions from the start of projects, especially in more waterfall projects. Agile, obviously, we're on board with it. We're usually working side by side, but in the company I was in, it was very, very waterfall. but getting testers talking to people at the start of projects was a big plus.
Yeah, I think that deserves another 2 minutes for sure because we just started. I'm gonna reset this.
Sorry, did I use the whole 2 minutes up myself? I apologize.
I don't know. This is a very. I think I don't know what everyone else thinks. Should we have another quick 2 minutes discussion about this?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Oh, if I could figure this out. There we go. Well, I think we just found a bug in Metro Retro. There you go. Cool. Does anyone else want to add their thoughts here?
I think in a agile environment, it's important to get everybody's buy-in. To that it's not just the QA or the QE responsibility quality. And the trick is to try and get that buy-in early, and show that everybody is responsible for quality throughout the life cycle. But getting that buy-in in a new organisation, which is what I am doing now. I'm starting a new job as a QA manager soon, and I've been tasked with getting that buy-in from all the senior leadership, and obviously. I find it a bit daunting, and how I'm going to do that with new people, new organisations, and new mindsets. Just wondering what people have done and how I should approach it, really.
Yeah, I think trust is the biggest thing. For me, it's not about going in and making changes straight away. It's about understanding what the pain points are and then addressing those.
Definitely.
So what about within your own team? Like, you obviously need to understand what my team's capabilities are, and maybe starting there would be a good starting point, I guess.
Yeah, I would say so. I'd start small. I'd start by learning about the capabilities of your team and what their views are, and try and get them to buy into the culture that you're trying to put in place. And if you can bring them on the journey, that certainly makes it easier because it's not a sole voice. So yeah, start with your own team and then move outwards effectively.
Okay.
Yeah, it's true. I think one of the other key things is defining what quality is to you and your team to start with, because actually talking to your team and find out what their pain points are as well. Maybe from that you can discover your quality values. But yeah. How's everyone feeling? Are they feeling that this is a good topic to continue for another 2 minutes, or do we want to move on to the next one?
I think the next one is mine, and I think it's similar to this one already. It's about how to bring that quality mentality into the like I already said about quality is everyone's responsibility into the organisation. How to influence people. So I mean, we can just continue on that same topic.
Yeah, we can focus more on that specific area of it. That's a good idea. So let's just kick this off. Go for it.
Okay, so I think I already started by saying what I wanted to achieve by creating this ticket. This item was really to see what everyone's view is on how to get a buy-in from different members and different levels and leadership within an organisation. So, like Simon said, getting your team's responsibilities and capabilities is probably key first of all. But what else do you think is important? I mean, I will be in charge of also manual and automation team. So again, it's going to be different things as well, not just what the capabilities are for manual, but also for automation.
So I don't want to jump in if anyone else want to say anything.
I mean, we have automation and normal testing teams. I think everything is testing, and I think it's important to make sure that when we're selling the two sides from testing perspective, is that we're not undervaluing one or the other, and making sure that when we're selling quality from that side, is that we're saying, we're actually delivering this quality through testing by using the tools and I'm doing a whole different talk about that later. But that's my point on that side in terms of automation and testing. But in terms of getting everyone on responsibility, and I think we have like product teams, several different product teams, and whenever I'm running the quality workshops there, is I'm trying to get everyone in the product teams on board of what it means to have quality. Now, we used to have quality QA columns on the Jira board where people used to move the cars there, and I'm tried a couple of projects moving it to called in testing rather QA, because quality isn't something that starts at that point. It was something that should have been starting by every single person early stages, whether it's asking right questions from development, from AMs, from ops, whatever it is. Sorry, I've just taken up two. I think it's fair to say I'm going to restart this for 2 minutes. That's my take on it.
On that point, I always try and get rid of the testing column, because testing should be done all through the cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you use instead then if you get rid of the in testing?
We don't do anything instead. We just pair all the way through, and we have very cross-functional teams. So there is a ticket, and it gets through to done, and we think about it all the way through. We have stringent 3 Amigo sessions, stringent demos, everything that feeds back into that like quality cycle, and then testing is just part and parcel of your development. You're not thinking of it as a separate function.
But do you have a quality team then, or as in QA team?
We have QAs,
yeah.
But there's a ticket on board. Anyone can pick it up, whether it's development or testing or BA or whatever. Anyone can pick it up.
That's interesting.
So, I mean, and looking at it from a non-agile perspective, working in a very waterfall company where all the expectation was that testing only happened at the end of a cycle where they ran thousands of manual tests before release, and having a siloed QA team, I mean, the biggest thing for me with influenced in and getting people on board is once you've got your QA team on board with it, is finding that ally somewhere else in the business, whether it be a development lead, whether it be a project manager, a BA, someone that believes in what you're talking about as well. And then they can start spreading that message as well. And the more people that they talk to, it gradually infiltrates the rest of the business. But it is about constantly banging the drum at every opportunity you can about quality, and making sure that people are aware that quality is important. So whether it's agile, as you said, Lewis, I think it was, where you have you remove the test column so it's on everyone's responsibility to make sure testing is included in the daily tasks, or whether you have a separate siloed team that are doing testing at the end of cycle, get them involved earlier, get them talking to people earlier on in the cycle, push to be engaged earlier. And eventually things will start to change, but it does require a lot of banging the drum and opening doors, kicking doors down when actually it's not even open for you.
What I found is, and Varun, you could use this, is that if I know my manager's got my back, as in, if I'm going to push something back, or, QA has to get involved, I know my manager's got my back in, whatever I say, he or she will be there to speak up in, service meetings or whatever large teams they have, that QA have a say at all levels. I find that helps as well.
Yeah, I think that's going to be important for me from the start, because obviously I'll be new in the organisation, so my manager will need to be my voice on some occasions. But I want to be able to get my own voice and.
That's what I mean. You should be the voice of your subordinates.
Yes. Yeah. Good. Okay.
Cool. That was really good. By the way, obviously, don't forget these topics are really incredible. So you can always continue to having them more after this. And you can also spin up your Lean coffees more and more. I'll be doing them later, so we can do more of these great discussions. Cool. Let's do this one. Who wants to start on this one?
Yeah, this one's mine. So we've got my organisation's got quite a lot of teams, and we want to kind of do some dashboards to show that the teams are following the test strategy and the quality that's coming out on the teams is consistent. And this could be company wide. You know, we're a global company, so what are the best measurements? What dashboards have people got set up?
I think
what kind of sorry, are you working agile or waterfall or?
Yeah, so we're safe, but so it's just a flavor of agile, yeah, and we're fully automated.
when you say fully automated, is that
Let's not get into that topic, please.
So we have automated formal acceptance tests, integration tests, performance tests, everything but exploratory testing is automated when we can.
You do exploratory as well, so there is still that manual investigative. Okay.
At the moment, yeah.
Make sure you keep that. Push for that to be kept.
Yeah, it's a huge pain point in our industry. But what problem are you trying to solve with this?
Yes, it's difficult to prove and to keep track of whether the teams are following the test strategy that's in place, and are they following. So because we're in a clinical industry, we've got a lot of regulations to keep to as well. So it's making sure we've got that traceability, because we get audited all the time. So it's keeping a track of probably things around, you know, defects that are pushing out to production, but at the same time, are we tagging our test scripts, our feature files correctly, you know, with the right stuff to check that we're getting that coverage from accessibility testing to trace into our Part 11 requirements, or to risks, to DXB risks, all that kind of stuff.
I think. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, just a quick one. This kind of brings me to a story a long time ago. I read James Bach, and I watched his videos where he worked at, I think it was IBM or somewhere, where they had thousands of tests running, and none of them were actually doing anything that was supposed to be testing the functionality or checking the functionality. So I think the point here is, it's like, are you checking to see that your checks are valid? Because you could report on them and they could be coming back and saying, for instance, we have automation as well, but this is not the key element in our workplace. But we check for the stability and the test sites, how well it's kind of like the results over time come back. If we're seeing this constant huge fluctuations, there's some sort of problems. But we also always look at we have like 30 or 40. People have hundreds of checks. We only have like 30 or 40, and we have a big platform. And we have key ones that are really critical and important to us. That's where we look at the important measurements for us. Are the checks that we have critical? Are they important? That's it. We don't care about anything else. We do have some silly dashboards, but they're more for internal purpose.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is if you're going to look at defects leaked into production, it's trying to do that in a way that doesn't end up in finger pointing where the defect come from. Because it's important to know, did we miss this? How do we miss this? How can we make sure we do it better next time? But having a way that flags that without saying, oh, well, that team obviously missed it, that, you know, they're not testing well enough. But ultimately I'm not sure a dashboard can show the level of quality. It's more a case of are the teams effectively holding each other to account for the quality of the tests they're writing? Are they making sure they've got traceability back to the stories or back to the user acceptance criteria, and making sure they're checking them off? Yeah, I'm not sure how that reflects in a dashboard.
Couldn't you just have a simple like checklist that would, you know, just to make sure that everybody's followed the strategy and regulations and so on? If they complete the checklist, you can say that you can basically assume that they have followed everything because they've had to sign off that checklist.
Yeah, and it's that balance between holding people to account that they've done that checklist correctly, but at the same time using that checklist and the stats to start a conversation more than finger point. As you say, you know, you don't want to demotivate your team because they've missed a defect, but at the same time you want them to be aware and open that conversation to say, how did we miss it? What are we going to do to not do the same mistake again. Yeah.
And the other way to get them bought in, make sure they're following the strategy is have them bought into it as far as I don't know how defined the strategy is, whether it's been defined for years and it's been left in there, but really get the team on board on building that strategy.
Yeah, and the strategy is fairly new,
Okay.
and we did get them involved, and we've started a test lead kind of community of practice together to try and keep them involved and stuff. So we're just doing that performance testing as well, because that's new to us. So we've just kind of done that performance champions, so we can get those people embedded in the team so they can push that performance testing through. We've done the same with security as well. So
cool.
Just a quick one. You might want to read Black Box Thinking by Matthew Said. There's a thing that he mentions called just culture in terms of accountability. It's really, really interesting. And he talks about the aviation industry and medical industry, about how people hold each other accountable. And yeah, I think it's relevant.
Okay,
cool. We have less than a minute left. So I think it's anyone who's cards haven't been gone through, what we'll probably do is run another Lean Coffee on the same subject at some point or other, and we'll keep these cards and then just move through them again. So yeah, don't feel like they're being ignored. You can always run your own Lean Coffees. This is the whole point of them. They're really easy to spin up and meet new people and have great conversations. Yeah, I think unless anyone else has anything to say, I think that's pretty much it. Really?
Oleg, did you just mention about literature about clinical something? I'm sorry, I missed
it. Yeah,
it.
so Black Box Thinking by Matthew Said, really great book. He talks about, he mentions just culture in there, so check that out. Cool.
Perfect. Good stuff. Well, look, thanks for facilitating, Oleg, and yeah, thanks everyone for coming along. Hope you all enjoyed it and got a takeaway from today. Just to follow up from what Oleg said, these things are really easy to organise. If I can do it, I'm pretty sure you can. So feel free to keep speaking in that LinkedIn group or connect with one another and just keep sharing ideas, to be honest with you. But thanks very much for coming along, and
thanks.
Have a good day and stay safe.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Cheers.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.